The world is shifting. Power dynamics are changing. A new group of players is emerging on the global stage. They are bold, ambitious, and ready to challenge the established order. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This isn't just another acronym. It's a symbol of a changing world. A world where the United States is no longer the only game in town. BRICS is a force to be reckoned with. And trust me, they are just getting started. For decades, the U.S. has reigned supreme, but the winds of change are blowing. BRICS is rising, and they have their sights set on a new world order, one where power is distributed more evenly. Are you ready for what comes next? The whispers started subtly, hints of a seismic shift in global perception. Public opinion polls began to paint a fascinating picture. People around the world, it seemed, were increasingly open to a world no longer dominated by the United States. Surveys, those windows into the collective consciousness, revealed a growing belief in BRICS's potential. A 2023 Pew Research Center survey showed that a significant percentage of people in multiple countries believed that China would eventually overtake the U.S. as the world's leading superpower. These aren't just abstract figures. They represent a tangible shift in global sentiment. They reflect a growing awareness of BRICS's growing influence and a willingness to entertain the possibility of a new world order. The ground is shifting, and even public opinion is beginning to reflect this new reality. Let's talk numbers, shall we? Because when it comes to understanding BRICS's meteoric rise, the economic data tells a very compelling story. While the U.S. economy has been grappling with its own set of challenges, BRICS nations have been on a tear. Just look at the GDP growth rates. According to the World Bank, China and India have been leading the charge, consistently outpacing the U.S. in terms of economic expansion. Brazil and Russia, despite facing their own hurdles, remain formidable economic players. This economic prowess isn't just about bragging rights, it translates into real-world influence. As BRICS nations become economic powerhouses, their ability to shape global trade, investment, and finance grows exponentially. The U.S. may still be a giant, but it's now sharing the playground with some very big kids. The dollar has long been the undisputed king of the global financial system, but whispers of a new contender have sent ripples of anxiety through the halls of Wall Street. BRICS nations, it seems, are flirting with the idea of a new reserve currency. Imagine a world where international trade and finance aren't beholden to the whims of the US dollar. This is the tantalizing possibility that a BRICS currency presents. While still in its early stages, the mere discussion of such a move sends a powerful message. The implications are far-reaching. A BRICS currency could potentially challenge the dollar's dominance, leading to a more multipolar financial system. This would have profound implications for global trade, investment, and geopolitical power. The dollar, for the first time in decades, is facing a serious challenger. Section 5. The people have spoken. BRICS. Citizens like what they see. So, what do the people living in BRICS nations think about this burgeoning alliance? Are they optimistic about the future? Do they see BRICS as a force for good in the world? The answers, my friends, are quite intriguing. Public opinion surveys conducted by organizations like Gallup International and YouGov reveal a generally positive sentiment towards BRICS among citizens of these nations. This makes sense. After all, they are witnessing firsthand the economic progress and growing global influence of their countries. This positive sentiment is particularly strong in China and India, the two most populous nations in the world. The citizens of these rising giants are keenly aware of their country's growing stature on the world stage and are eager to embrace a future where their voices carry more weight. Section 6. Uncle Sam's Anxiety, a look at U.S. perceptions of BRICS. Now let's flip the script and step into the shoes of the United States. How does the reigning superpower view the rise of BRICS? The answer, in short, is with a mixture of apprehension and uncertainty. Polls conducted by Pew Research Center and other organizations reveal a growing awareness among Americans of BRICS's growing influence. However, there's also a sense of unease, a feeling that the global balance of power is shifting in ways that may not be entirely favorable to the U.S. This anxiety is understandable. The U.S. has been the world's dominant power for so long that the prospect of a more multipolar world order is uncharted territory. It's a future filled with both opportunities and challenges, and one that the U.S. is still trying to wrap its head around. Section 7, Military Maneuvers, a dance of growing might. It's not just about economics and public opinion, my friends. The BRICS nations are also flexing their muscles in the military arena. This is a dance of growing might, a delicate ballet of power projection and strategic alliances. Data from SIPRI, the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, shows a steady increase in military spending by BRICS nations, particularly China and Russia. These countries are investing heavily in modernizing their armed forces and developing advanced weaponry. But it's not just about hardware. BRICS nations are also engaging in joint military exercises, strengthening their defense ties, and coordinating their strategic postures on the global stage. This growing military cooperation is a clear signal to the world that BRICS is a force to be reckoned with, both economically and militarily. Section 8. Beyond economics, BRICS influence in global institutions. The BRICS story isn't confined to economic growth or military might. It's about reshaping the very fabric of global governance. BRICS nations are demanding a greater say in international institutions, challenging the long-standing dominance of the West. This ambition is evident in their push for reforms within the United Nations Security Council, where they seek greater representation and influence. BRICS nations argue that the current structure of the UNSC, designed in the aftermath of World War II, no longer reflects the realities of the 21st century. This quest for greater influence extends to other global institutions as well. From the World Bank to the International Monetary Fund, BRICS nations are using their growing economic clout to advocate for reforms that give them a greater voice in shaping global financial policies. Section 9. A seat at the high table. BRICS demands a place in global governance. For too long, BRICS nations argue, they have been relegated to the sidelines of global decision-making. They were expected to abide by rules set by others, rules that often seemed designed to maintain the existing power structures. But those days are over. BRICS nations are demanding a seat at the high table of global governance. They want their voices to be heard, their perspectives considered, and their interests represented in the institutions that shape the world order. This demand for greater inclusion is not just about fairness, it's about recognizing the shifting realities of power in the 21st century. BRICS nations are major players on the global stage, and they are no longer content with being treated as junior partners. Section 10. The allure of a multipolar world, a new dawn or a false promise. The rise of BRICS presents the world with a tantalizing possibility, a future where power is more evenly distributed, where multiple centers of influence coexist, and where a concert of nations guides global affairs. This is the allure of a multipolar world. But is it a realistic vision or a utopian dream? A multipolar world, while theoretically appealing, comes with its own set of challenges. It requires cooperation, compromise, and a shared vision among nations with diverse interests and values. The question then is whether BRICS, with its own internal divisions and competing agendas, can truly usher in a new era of multipolarity. Or will the world simply witness a shift in power from one dominant player to another? Section 11. The future of power. A delicate dance between giants. The stage is set for a fascinating dance between giants. In one corner, we have the United States, the reigning superpower, still formidable, but grappling with its own internal challenges and the ghosts of past interventions. In the other corner, we have BRICS, a coalition of rising powers, brimming with ambition, and determined to reshape the world order. The future of global power hangs in the balance. The outcome of this dance is far from certain. It will depend on a complex interplay of economic might, political influence, military strength, and perhaps most importantly, the will and wisdom of those who hold the reins of power. The world watches with bated breath as these giants waltz on the global stage.